How is your pee break?
My pee break.
They might flash you. Understand?
Random baby.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares.
I too am a thought criminal. Good. Well, I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around?
No.
But how much do you actually understand money? Especially the new wave.
Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash both, it is men's kryptonite. Welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor. Well. Look who made it to my domain. Better late than never, said nobody except David Gokshin. So if I just saw you there and now you're here, David show. This is the first time this has ever happened. I was going to be really sexual with it, but I don't know if David and his new haircut would be okay with that. But it's like we've kind of, I don't want to say gangbang. That might be a little aggressive, but we were kind of overlapping on the tag team. That's what I was looking for. We were tag teaming it. His show ran over. And so I hopped right into his live. I said, David, what's the tea here? We got Punctual Patty. It's now on the record, like 3 for 3 of, being on time. And I said, the people got to hear what's up. First of all, I spent 4 hours today that I'll never get back watching the entirety of the PBD debates, the great debate they called it, with Candace Owens, Andrew Wilson. And I did the legwork for you people. I spent, 8-9 hours in a vortex of the dark internet I'll never get back debating one Andrew Wilson. So all that to say, I'm telling you, all you guys need to know, I put in the work so you don't have to. And, we got to get to it, but I'm starting to think it's a method of David's. Like, I don't know. Is he giving me a little bit of blue balls because he makes me wait typically when I come on his show? Now, same thing tonight. And, I don't know if the method is working. I'll leave that up to you people. Speaking of methods working, this entire mental pretzel debate display that we saw today. So let me just come at it because trust me, okay? In tits we trust. I could go down the rabbit holes, picking apart this, that. Why didn't he press her more on this? What do you mean? She lied about what? This, that. But I'm going to spare you. I'm going to take a higher level. We're going to be the bigger people in the room, okay? I'm going to take a higher level approach to all of this. And if you guys have seen now consecutively this glare light coming down right dead in the money shot in the center, what can I say? It's just the witching hour of doing the show at this time. Maybe it's like, the spirits of truth, of real truth, not this grifting BS, are with us. So just take it as you will. So first things first, okay, let me come at all this with my bias and then my experience. And we also have a great guest backstage that's going to kind of in a way get into all this. You'll see. So first things first with Candace Owens, right? I'm going to own my bias that, as absurd as it is, and I don't know what alternate parallel universe that I'm in, that I actually agree with Andrew Wilson on this one. I definitely have strong biases against Candace Owens. I can't even believe that I was bewitched enough under her hex spell to believe and spend the time I did on her breadcrumbing, going nowhere, leaving open ends. Oh, we're on to something, like making all of this a crime show, soap opera grift. I'm sorry. The first giveaway for me, because Rob said to me, he's like, you just, because once she started openly hating Jews, that's when. And I said that actually, it was when, my brain cells, which her pretzel for brains followers don't do, and they really started kicking in, and I really started becoming privy to what she was doing, right? The first giveaway for me was textbook gaslighting 101. was when out of the Charlie Kirk assassination, which took her, the body wasn't even cold yet, okay, and she's grifting on this, insinuating Israel was behind it. And Bibi Netanyahu comes out and is like, I didn't kill Charlie Kirk. And then here's Candace Owens. Well, no, that's odd. No one said you did. Like, I cut the shit. I hate the gaslighting. If someone's going to accuse you of murder, even insinuate, and you defend yourself, and then the person is like, well, that's weird. Why would you? Because you insinuated it, bitch. What are we talking about? Like, how dumb rocks for brains do you think that we are? It's insulting to my intelligence. That was number one. Number two was when, again, she made this entire thing just completely destroying everything her so-called friend Charlie Kirk built. Like, he would be rolling in his grave. Not only his widow, but Turning Point USA, like completely torturing them, berating them, tearing all of it apart, defacing it, everything that he had built. And it's just for anybody. That's why I can't get over. Look, I am all for, I think it's shady. I do think that some stuff is fishy. I know friends of Charlie's in Turning Point who think stuff's fishy. Going up against the powers that be and demanding answers and transparency and pushing up against the FBI is a very different thing than this entire charade that's not only insulting to her friend, but to our intelligence, right? The fact that, like, on a baseline level, we saw this man brutally assassinated, and it's become this entire soap opera show, like this crime series. Oh, next week on, like, these are people's lives. What, like, have you no shame? To what end? On top of it, I'm really sick of this whole charade that it's wrapped in, and it's under the whole facade of like, well, Charlie was my friend. Charlie was my friend. And it's like, okay, like, it just is so shameless. It's so obvious. And the fact, I did a video on this today on Instagram, and the fact that her numbnuts followers are in my comments because I said how she charged, they're obsessed with the word charged, $300,000 to do this. Andrew Wilson says in the debate, this cost me $300,000. I think that he raised money toward it, whatever. Either way, she took it. And here are her followers doing mental gymnastics. She didn't charge. He offered and he took it. What are we talking about? She took it. You want to do mental splits over the word charged? Like, give me a break. And that's why this whole thing is such an obvious grift. Like, that tells you everything you need to know. If you're all about getting the truth out and saying what's real, why does it come within your $500,000 price tag? Could it be? No. It's almost like she's been grifting and scamming all along. But what you're also here for is the Andrew Wilson of it all, right? And I did debate Andrew Wilson. I had no idea. This was like 2 years ago or something on the Whatever podcast. I had no idea who he was. And I went so toe to toe with him because the whole point of the Whatever podcast is like they bring on these girls who they make look stupid and who can't really hold their own or back their shit up. And I did. And Andrew Wilson and I were so at one point going at it back and forth, that Brian, the host, was like, guys, you're monopolizing this whole show. In fact, I thought about playing a clip of it, but it's on my social media. You can see it. There's one clip that's really funny. Like, there's one that's he keeps just like interrupting and cutting me off. It's like, knock, knock, who's there, Andrew? The other is when he's trying to like rage bait me in real time and compare me. He's like, who's the hottest woman you know? I say Pam Anderson. He's like, okay, are you as hot as Pam Anderson? It's like, really? Like, insecure man, confident woman. It's not going to work. And really what we got into both on and off camera is what I believe to be, it wasn't about any of this, right? And again, when I really went toe to toe with him, but his deep rooted misogynistic beliefs. And I was going at it with him, like, how is your wife about it? You have daughters. Like, what are we talking about? That kind of stuff. Even in the fact, like, even in the debate today, again, I was like, the fact that I inherently disagree with Andrew Wilson on every level and I'm in his corner on this one, because like critical thinking and common sense logic tells you everything you need to know about how insane all of this has become. But he's still like, the fact that in the debate, how he's like, calls all women retarded. I'm sitting there, I'm going, dude, like you literally just discredited you just undercut the whole debate. Like, just why? And what's funny is I actually offline that night when I debated him, and then afterwards I invited him and his wife to come on my show, and I said I'll only have you if you guys come on together. And because I was like, I'm fascinated, like how? Because I guess the wife wrote a book all about the patriarchy, all this stuff, right? And they never came on. He asked me, he's like, what would it be about? And I said, I just want to have a conversation. I just want to understand. And I don't know if they got cold feet. I don't know if the blondes of it all was, big, bad, and intimidating. But I thought that was interesting. They decided not to come on. But the bigger point that I want to make with all of this before I bring on my amazingly patient guest is when I first saw the promos for this, there was one I saw, and I don't know if it was doctored. I don't think it was, but it's like PBD in like a gold suit. And then the two of them, like it's been so gamified. I'm thinking like we've lost all humanity. Like again, ask the questions, go up against establishments. But the fact that this tragic, horrible event has been turned into this dystopian Black Mirror sick game show, what does that say about us? Forget the fact that this straw has more critical thinking skills than Candace Owens. What does that say about us? That we've literally boiled it down, again, even into these two, caricatures. I just think we have some serious reevaluating to do, especially, you guys know, like once AI comes in the fold, more information, how we think, parsing out truth from not, like we better buckle up, buttercup, because if it's this much of a clusterfuck now, just wait. Just wait. Like we better get our bearings. So all of that to say, my guest is backstage, and I feel like it's perfect because after spending 4 hours watching this today, I left going on it. This whole thing could have been an email. It could have been an email. I don't feel like I learned anything new. Here we are weaving around, doing mental pretzel, skirting around. Could have been an email. I don't feel like I walked away knowing anything differently. So with that said, I'm bringing on my friend, Evan Jackson. He and I go back. He's a red carpet OG. He is the founder of the site Young, Bold, and Regal. And he and I always text offline. And he cracks me up because he is so savage and like saying what we're thinking about Hollywood. And I forget what it even was the other day, but he was going on and he's like, honestly, like just how Hollywood can be so, as you know, like self-indulgent and like extra. And he's like, that could have been an email. And I said, we're going to start a segment where you come on every Friday and tell us in Hollywood what just could have been an email. So Evan Jackson, everybody. Evan, welcome. There he is. Welcome.
Hey.
That being patient.
Yes.
You can't blame the women though. Like Andrew Wilson at 7
Right?
Eastern. Evan, what's up? Tell us for these last 10 minutes of the show, what in Hollywood could have been an email?
Well, this certainly could have been an email because it's been going around for a year or a year and a half, right? Christopher Nolan, whenever he talks about a film, we listen, we hear it. Even if we're in the woods somewhere, we know it's coming, right? So when he said, I'm doing the Odyssey, all the academics, everybody's like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to see my Greek gods up there. And they see Lupita Nyong'o, they see Zendaya, and they get scared. They start clutching their pearls. And then I'm thinking, wait, is this a documentary? Is he going to Greece, talking to ancient Grecians and, doing a time machine and going back to Homer and interviewing the Odyssey? No, it's a fictional take of Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. So for all those grifters, clickbaiters, naysayers who want to say we can't have people of color, specifically black women, as a Helen of Troy, like a Lupita Nyong'o, who you've probably seen on a red carpet or passed by, is one of the most
Mhm.
beautiful women on the planet, and let alone a Oscar winning actress, right? And Zendaya as Athena. Oh my gosh, so much controversy. Actually, not any controversy because it's the highest grossing film of Christopher Nolan's career. Thank you very much to the naysayers and the grifters and the clickbaiters. It's the highest grossing IMAX film of all time. So all of that outright rage, I say, to quote somebody in office, fake news, fake news, fake news. It's not fake news, fake
Wow.
outrage.
Here's what I think. Here's what I think, Ev. I think that both sides of this issue could have been an email. And I have said from the beginning, even if Nolan had you know how I feel about the quota checklist, all this, the right was so extra and being like, I'm not going to see it. It's like, are you,
Yeah.
why can't both things be true? It can still be. I haven't seen it yet. I have to bring myself. I just spent 4 hours watching this debate. I need 3 hours to regain
Yes, you
brain
need
cells.
3.5 hours to
Three and a
prepare
half
for it,
hours.
right? Especially in
But
40X, you need your raincoat and all that.
but both things can be true. Like maybe is there some pandering? Is there some quota filling? But also, like, what if it's also a good movie at the same time? Like both both whatever you want to call it in my mind, like did overtime to make their case. And what I hear is at the end of the day, these weren't even that pivotal or big of roles in the movie. Like, what are we talking about? I don't know. It all could have been an email, in my opinion.
Actually, I feel like those roles are pivotal. Although I won't give anything away as far as the time frame, I'm saying as the American public, as the world, we've seen and love Lupita Nyong'o. We've seen and love Zendaya. We wouldn't mind them in their films. And guess what? There's another film coming out this year that got picked up at Sundance called If They Go, Will They Miss Me? And the actor Alphonse Nicholson is playing a version of Poseidon. Daniel Brooks is playing a version in that movie of Medusa. But we don't hear any outrage about that. It's always something grifty or clickbaity, where if it's a part of something that's already created by Christopher Nolan, some part of the zeitgeist latches onto that and politicizes that. And I have to, and I won't blame it on the right. I'm gonna blame it on the people who decided to politicize the box office, politicize
Yeah.
all these things, especially
Yeah.
what could have been an email. Oh my gosh, Pepe Le Pew is making his debut again in a Warner Brothers cartoon because apparently in 2021 there was some kerfuffle of how he handled his depiction or his love for fictional character skunks, and that could have been an email. I
Wait, wait,
was
wait, wait. So they're reviving. Are they making a whole Pepe Le Pew? It's a whole movie. It's a whole
No,
splash
no.
page.
So it's
What's
a
this?
movie called Coyote versus Acme. It was originally at Warner Brothers, but you know Warner Brothers, they're trying to find a new boo in Paramount, and they're trying to do their thing. So they said, "I will shelve this." So somebody swooped in and says, "No, catch up animations, catch up movie studios." Bought the rights to it, and they added, and they already had Pepe Le Pew to it. But when Warner Brothers had the film and had when Warner Brothers in 2021 apparently was still putting out Looney Tunes, news to me, right? They decided to not have Pepe Le Pew out there because of the messaging. Because we all know fictional skunks are some of the most fictional. Pepe Le Pew, though, that's so influential that I might just model my behavior after that,
I
even though
kiss
I've been
my
seeing it
Pepe Le
since I was a kid.
Pew. I kiss my Pepe Le Pew poster every night. So, but what about? Wait, what's wrong with Pepe Le Pew? Was it what that he's like misogynist or something? That he's a lady skirt chaser? What even
Well,
is?
well, well, if you know the Pepe Le Pew, classically, he sees a fellow skunk, a female skunk. He goes up to them, hugs them, and kiss them. So a lot of people were saying that was without consent, without saying a word. And I'm saying it could have been an email because this is a fictional character, right? We
You
have
could have got the
bigger
memo.
we have bigger issues than that. And on top of that, it's a movie. It's the same thing with the Odyssey. like if you want Athena to be any actress on the planet, nobody's going to stop you because the Odyssey is public domain. It's the oldest story in the book, literally.
You know
So
what, Evan? I am just remembering as you're saying this. So when I was in kindergarten, the girls and I would like chase the boys around the playground to try to kiss them. Should I make a movie to rewrite my kindergarten chronicles, or what do we?
there,
I send an
there we
email.
go. You and then a live action movie starring Pepe Le Pew, a reformed Pepe Le Pew, right? Because
I can't.
apparently, so that's the most interesting part about films and movies and box office. People have seen Spider-Man Brand New Day, right? I won't give any spoilers, but a lot of people said this particular character, are they redeemable? Oh my gosh, they did something so horrible. That's the point of the character. And on top of that, it's a fictional character, guys. Unless it's a documentary, unless it's a real person, we cannot moralize or ethicalize every film that we watch. We can get messages from them, but once we add on a layer of our own ethics and moral, that's when it becomes a lot less fun.
Especially with superhero. Can I ask you
Yeah,
something, Ev?
yes,
So, because the new Spider-Man has broken all kinds of records, even the trailers leading up broke records. I wrote pieces about it for comic book
yes.
resources. This is again in my mind Hollywood being extra, and it could have been an email. I'm sorry. I love a superhero uplifting. Lord knows we need it. Clearly, why they perform so well. I also think Christopher Nolan is overrated. I'm sorry, not sorry. I
Mm.
think it's indulgent. Whatever. Is this Spider-Man really the best movie of all time? Like they're saying. I'm sorry. That's extra to me. That's extra to me.
It's
That's
not
doing
the
a lot.
best movie of all time. There's a recency bias and there's a sense of urgency, right? When it was 2006 and we saw Superman Returns, we were excited. Superman fans were excited, like myself. I saw it. I wanted to go see it as a kid. I wasn't astute as a film critic now, but I knew it was bad. I knew it wasn't good. But over the last 20 years, you have this fandemonium in all these sectors of all these fictional characters where people take ownership of it, which honestly led to a George Lucas to sell Star Wars because he says, "You don't think I could do it? Somebody could do it better. Go ahead, Disney. Go ahead, Marvel." So, getting back to your point, it's not the best movie ever. But what I will say, which isn't a spoiler, it's very timely. It talks about
Got it.
loneliness. It
Got it.
talks
Got
about
it. Got it. Got it.
isolation.
Oh, okay. So
So,
it's a little Toy Story 5 coded. Okay, I'll take it.
and on
So
top of
wait,
that, Tom and Zendaya, that's the it couple of the social media era. So
that's
that's the
another
factor
thing
they didn't
though.
have 20 years ago.
I know. I was gonna say this about the Odyssey. Like, I don't care what color, what this, that. It's like both Tom and Zendaya. I'm sort of, and I've seen this a lot from no matter where you lie, no matter like, can we switch up the casting? No, is there no? Like, do we have to keep seeing these people?
That's a perfect segue into what you and I talk about all the time of how do we create new movie stars, especially when Tom
Yeah,
Cruise was doing Mission Impossible 8. Right? No shade to him, but it's like, my guy, you're literally jumping from plane to plane to not reach the same box office you did before. No shade, but you got to switch it up. And he says, "Evan, you're right. I'm gonna go for an
he
Oscar.
said
I'm gonna do
Evan. He said
Digger."
Evan.
Right?
He said Evan. I heard you. I love
You're
it
right.
by the way that he keeps like jumping out of shit and defying and facing fear.
Yes.
I'm like, is Scientology onto something? Wait, what is this man like super you? Like, what's happening?
And I loved it too, and that was a really great scene. I really feel like that scene in the last Mission Impossible movie is one of the greatest action scenes ever, just by the sheer feat of it. But you know what the audience says? I want something a little bit more. So it's under the onus of the box office and all these studios, or maybe this one studio. Is Apple can technically buy all of them if Paramount's going to buy Warner Brothers. Side note, right? But they're under this onus
Yeah.
of making these films event films.
Right, right,
Obsession,
right.
Backrooms. Backrooms did a collaboration with McDonald's. McDonald's hardly does ever last collaboration I know they did with the movie was Batman when Michael Keaton was playing him. So that tells you something that these
But that's
conglomerates are
like,
looking for event films, and so are
yeah.
we as far as consumers.
Yeah, that's what you and I always talk about offline, right? Is like creating a spectacle, an event, and where that clashes with, like, as you know, why I was so obsessed, had an obsession, because it's like, the discipline of being lower budget and being so creative and out of the box that it defies
Yes.
all of these mega power players, which I love. It's like the
Hmm.
underdog story, right?
Yeah.
Before we wrap here, and I don't know if you have one last thing that could have been an email, I love to hear it. I want to, so back to just a quick thought for the audience on all the Odyssey and the performative stuff. I believe you and I were talking about this recently, but you were saying how Hollywood is pivoting, especially around Black stories and actors, that they're not so concentrated on being Black, like even like Insecure, and they're going like expanding and being like, hey, we're not pigeonholed to just this. Tell us like what you're seeing, like why that is, what you think of it.
Well, honestly, it's the effect of people even talking and misinforming people about DEI, about a Black Lives Matter movement, which was a collection of people. We're not talking about Black Lives Matter, the organization that did a lot of the corrupt stuff. We're talking about the movement. But a lot of things get conflated. We're in the age of AI. So a lot of misinformation goes ahead of you. For example, a Cooper Hoffman, who is a perfectly fine actor, they said he's going to be Cyclops. The internet said he's not fit enough. He's not handsome enough. His team didn't come out to say anything, but they announced the Cyclops character cast, which is Kit Connor, who literally looks like Cooper Hoffman, but looks like a slimmer version, and he's more popular. So even with that, this misinformation can destroy careers, but also if you look at Disney, one of their mandates was we're going to highlight more women, more diversity in these stories. They put these films out at the least opportune time during COVID and other areas where people weren't going to the movies. A lot of studio executives translated that as, well, the consumers say they don't want to see these stories. I don't necessarily believe in that. Shang-Chi did pretty well. Other films, other shows with diverse leads did. But there was a conversation of, do we highlight great variety of stories that happens to have diversity in them? I like that idea. Like you said, seeing a Zendaya, seeing a Lupita Nyong'o, it was formulated as they would take away from the film when they actually added to the film, not because they're Black, but because they're great actors in their own right. So I like that, but that also is very dangerous because I don't want my color to be forgotten. I don't want it to be the only story, but I don't want to live in a raceless society. I don't want to live in a raceless movie because when I go see Black Panther, that character is intrinsic to Black Panther and intrinsic to him being a Black man. That's what attracted people to the film. But even at large, a little white kid, a little Mexican kid could relate to a Black Panther, can relate to these superheroes in this film, not because they're Black, but because there's something
I
interesting
think
interesting in
that's
them.
that's the key, right? Like, I think it's a balance of not, I don't know. I mean, I would feel like, just can't we just see it, and that speaks volumes, versus a message, or again a pigeonhole thing attached to it. Like, you've seen a lot of critics being like, why every time I see a story about Black people, is it like crime and drugs? That we're so much more than that. Like, why does it have to be tied to this thing? Even I think of like Moana. Like, I love Moana. It's like we see her
Mhm.
being a little badass bitch out on the seas. Like, it's sort of Hidden Figures, like one of my
But
favorite movies. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
but
Like,
as you see, not to interrupt you, I did read a stat that says women get interrupted 3 times at a certain rate. So I'm just trying to top that, right?
we get
But
interrupted more.
yeah, I read that statistic. So it's literally like made me think like,
You should meet
wow,
my
like
fiance. It all makes sense. I normally hate stats, but that one is adding up. No, But
Yeah. So with that, even Moana, the latest one, Moana live action, it took a
it
huge hit at
tanked.
the box office.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
did it's around, I believe, 200 million plus when it's projected to do more. And a lot of people were thinking, wait, this is one of the biggest stars on the planet in The Rock, right? But I think it's less about people don't want to see it because The Rock is in it or it's a diverse story, and it's literally you're coming in between Spider-Man and you're coming in between the Odyssey. Fam, what are you doing strategizing your film in there? You got to find a way to move it to the fall or some way. I'm not saying you're beholden to these other things, but a lot of these films are cannibalizing themselves because it's how much money can a family spend in a summer? The family's not going to go see the Odyssey because it's too long, but they'll go see Spider Man. That's why Spider Man is doing numbers. It's a great, your grandma could go to it, your little cousin can go to it, I could go to it, you can go to it, a group of friends could go to it.
Yeah.
It's a great date night, and it's not message heavy, but there's a lot of great
Yeah.
messages from it. And I feel like people
Yeah.
want that in their films, and that's the recipe for a good film. First, it's a good story. Secondly, it's good acting. Thirdly, is this interesting? Can I tell a friend about it?
Creative. We want escapism. And I think just to wrap all of this up, Evan, I feel like both sides, kind of what we were getting at the beginning of this and the grift of it all, are to blame for this. I feel like coming
Mm,
from Hollywood, you're right. There's no reason that we should see like a black centered story and there should be a million think pieces or what. I'm not going to say blah, blah, quoted this or that. But the problem is there's been such an overcorrection from Hollywood of beating you over the head or punishing you if you don't, this cancel, if you don't
yes.
praise this or do that. And then it causes the other thing. So it's like, it causes the like counterculture to that. And the sad thing is everyone loses in that because there's no reason for it. Like I said, there's no reason that we should see a Lupita Nyong'o or whatever, or an Ellen Page and be like, whoa, what? But it's like, Hollywood created this atmosphere where it punished everybody for not being like, no, you must obey. And it's like now the swing on the other side is disproportionate. So all of these people could have been an email, in my opinion, because again, nobody wins. Nobody wins in that,
E-
Last thoughts
e-
from you before we hop off.
Exactly. And that's where you have the new age of the superstar, right? Of the A-list movie listers, right? On my list is top of the list is Michael B. Jordan, coming off of an Oscar, just did Sinners. He's carried two franchises over a decade: Creed, Black Panther, right? Zendaya, incredible, just dropped the drama, right? And in probably gonna be three of the biggest movies of the year: Dune, Odyssey, Spider-Man. Of course, you have Tom Holland, who's in Spider-Man alone. That's all you have to say, right? But where are the Sydney Sweeneys? Where are the Glenn Powells? Where is the Pedro Pascals? Pedro Pascals had 3 or 4 films, but which at number one. But would you call him a movie star? Not necessarily the star part. So we're recalibrating who is a star, who isn't. Meanwhile, Will Smith and Tom Cruise and all of them are licking their chops because they said, let me do it for another 10 years. And you're like, hold on, fam. You're nearly 60. You're nearly 70. And they're like, I don't care. Give me the July 4th release date. So that's the most fascinating part is who's going to be the new stars that emerges. I'm always excited
Yeah.
about that.
Same. Next week we'll talk about, because I know we've talked, Sydney Sweeney, Glenn Powell's, what will the longevity be? Will they be that true Meryl Streep, Denzel, like star, remains to be
Yeah.
seen. Evan, appreciate you. Evan Jackson, everybody, Young, Bold, and Regal, the Bow Tie Bandit. Appreciate you. We will see you next week, my friend. And I'm going to close here with some last thoughts. Thank you, Ev.
All right. See you next week. Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, could have been an email. Look, I'm going to wrap this up quickly with all of this stuff. Let's just take it to baseline. Everyone's yelling, everyone's got an opinion, this and that. The people in my comments, it just goes on and on. The performative outrage of it. Maybe you just hit him with that. Maybe you just, or even if you're about to do Twitter fingers or whatever it is, so much of this stuff could have simply been an email. Life is short, time is of the essence. And did we need the meeting? Did we need do we need this? Do we need all this? Bitch, it could have been an email. That is that. I will see you Monday. Good night, everyone.
Chris, how was your pee break?
My pee break.
They might flash you on the tape.
Wear them, baby.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares.
I too am a thought criminal. Good. Well, I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around?
No.
Messing around?
But how much do you actually understand money, especially the new wave?
Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash both, it is men's kryptonite. Welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor.